morning to everybody, and this is Irene with Coffee for Caregivers, and I have another favorite mug today. You might can tell that this is my cup from Hawaii. That's our favorite island to go to. We've been blessed to go there several times. And so when I want good memories and relaxing memories and cool breezes and the ocean and all those things, the smell of flowers, Kauai is known as the Garden Island. It's just gorgeous. I get my coffee cup from Kauai. As a guest today, we have my just wonderful dear friend, Rhonda Sciortino. Rhonda, why don't you tell us what special cup or container you have today, and then a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, wonderful. I'm so happy to be here. And I always love to be with you. So today, well, I've already had my coffee hours ago. So now I'm switched to water in this wonderful water bottle that my daughter gave me. It says, just be, and feed your soul and peace and happiness. And there are just all kinds, you kind of can't see them, but there's all kinds of little things etched here. And she's reminding me that I'm a human being, not a human doing. And I need reminding of that every single day.
Awesome. That's what we're going to talk about today, ultimately.
Indeed.
So, more about yourself. Make sure the audience knows a little bit about your background and what you do now.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me think. I'm trying to say the short version. And right now, my husband's probably somewhere twitching, going, oh, she doesn't know how to give any short version of anything. So I was in the child welfare system in the state of California from the time I was a little bitty thing to until I emancipated at 16. And let's see, I emancipated because of having my first little job in an insurance agency. I became the youngest licensed insurance agent in the state of California when I was 17, and I spent 40 some years in that industry, most of it focused on protecting and defending the good people like you and organizations that take care of kids who have been abused. And so in a whole lot of that time, I spent analyzing the ways kids and caregivers get injured. And then we would take that information. I had a committee of amazing child welfare professionals who we would take all the names and all the details out, but I would say, here's what has happened. And here were the circumstances leading up to these tragedies that happened. What could we have done differently? And so I had input from just amazing people who would say, oh, well, maybe this and maybe that. And we looked at the hours of the day when kids were most likely to get injured. We looked at the days of the week, the 2 months out of the year. So we had all this great data. So then we would write risk management programs, trainings, staff trainings around this in the effort to prevent tragedies in child welfare. So I sold that company, and now I spend my days doing national child advocacy and writing and speaking, and I've written a few books and done a few media appearances, and I was traveling all over the country speaking, and now I'm just sitting in my house wearing jeans instead of the suit pants that go with the blazer.
Same thing here.
Oh, it's a funny thing. I wonder if some of the news people on TV, if they stood up, if we would see swim trunks or shorts or what.
Absolutely.
So that's it. That's too much about me, but thank you for.
Well, I know that just scrapes the iceberg on you because I know a lot about you, and I know your heart. I know that you one time told me that people who foster provide radical hospitality, and I'll always remember that because it really struck me as, well, you know, we do. We're opening our families and our houses to, yes, they're children, but children we don't know and backgrounds we don't know.
That's right.
Futures we can only try to predict. And there's a lot of bump in the road through that journey with each child that joins a family. And so that has always resonated with me. And the other quote that was by Vera Fallberg that's always resonated is that every child deserves an irrational advocate.
That's right.
And I see you as one of those because it doesn't matter what you have to do, where you have to go, how far up the food chain you need to speak. You do it. You make those attempts. Nothing seems to scare you away. And that's awesome because a lot of us think, oh, I can't go talk to them, that kind of thing. I can't go to the Capitol and talk in a hearing. I can't go to Congress and talk to somebody in a hearing there. And yes, we can.
Oh, yes, we can.
And I've learned how to do it. You've learned how to do it. You're far better at it than I am. But the desire is there, the dedication is there, and it shows in everything that you do. So a couple of weeks ago, I kind of talked about, actually it was on our first Coffee for Caregivers. I talked about when I showed a family photograph that was professionally done to our caseworker. And I was so proud of it. And then when she looked at it, she said, well, you should be proud. The kids are beautiful. Bill's just handsome himself. But Irene, quite frankly, you look like hell. Have you looked at yourself in this picture? I said, well, I don't even know if I have, honestly. So she handed the picture back to me, 8 by 10 that we had. And boy, I did look like hell. I didn't look like my family did. I didn't shine. I didn't have a sparkle in my eye. I had bags under my eyes. My hair was sticking out all over the place. I looked tireder than tired. Had no smile on my face. And that's the day she said, you have to learn you can't be all things to all children. So get a grip. You're burnt out. You're used up already. And we need you to get healthy because these kids need you. And so when I was reading an email that I got from an executive director of another organization, and she just says, you can't pour from an empty cup. And that's what I've been trying to tell people. If you don't have something to give of value, you're not giving it, no matter how bad you want to give it. If you don't have it, you can't give it.
That's right.
We get it. How do we keep it? So last week we talked about motivation. And what motivates people to become caregivers for other people's kids, right? And to work with those families, to hopefully reunify those children and to feel good about that if we can. And so I naturally thought of you as like the next person who could come in and talk because you know so much about self-care, you've studied so much about taking care of oneself. And then just this week, it was like another one of those God thing, Rhonda. You published an article that I just couldn't wait to click on and read. And, it was called 7 Things to Do to Survive Tough Times during a pandemic, right? Or any kind of tough time, I guess. But by golly, we are sure going through it this time. And so my hope for the rest of this show, basically, since my voice is really, really bad today, and I may not even have it till the end if I talk much more, is to ask you to talk about that article. Can you explain why you wrote it? And then these 7 elements that really hit home to me in the life that I'm living right now. And I'm not even a caregiver to children anymore. My daughter lives here. Our youngest daughter's actually going to be 36 years old next week, and she has Down syndrome. So she lives with us, and she's just brings pure joy in our life every moment of every day.
Aww.
So yes, I'm a caregiver in that stretch, but not of young kids and not of kids that I don't know or understand. And so, but even so, all of these elements really hit home with me. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd love for you to kind of go over the elements in that article for us.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm happy to do that. And I'm happy to take over and let you rest your voice and take a sip of that hot.
Have a little more of this hot tea that I have in here. Maybe it'll help.
Oh, well, do that. So there's so much that you said that I just want to touch on, and I will talk about this article, but I wanted to say that I actually have 3 books in front of me. Oh, shoot. Now my dog's going to bark.
It's okay.
Home thing.
Everybody knows we're working from home.
Everybody gets it. I'm not hiding anything, but now's the time the dog decided to probably bark at his own reflection in the glass. So 3 books that I've dedicated to foster parents. And I don't know the name of the amazing foster parents who changed my life, but the impression that they left on me is indelibly in my heart. It doesn't matter that I don't know their names. And so much of what I've done in my life is because of them. And I hate referring to them as those people, but I don't know their names. But one, the kindness quotient, I learned everything that's in here from you and people that have done what you've done, taking care of other people's kids. And it, you know, it's that, and it's so much more, because the notion of being a kindness ambassador is what I call you, and all of my friends and all members of NFPA across the country who exercise radical hospitality and who set the example for the rest of us everywhere. I call you kindness ambassadors, because to be kind to someone who cannot or will not reciprocate is the most profound thing, I think, that we can do in this life. Because it's very easy to be kind to people who are kind to us. You know, it's a love fest, you know. I can give you a compliment, you can give me a compliment, we can go around and run like that on the kindness train, you know, all day. And we can be kind to people who we don't know very well. So the checker in the grocery store, and, you know, first responders, especially right now. So people who work in medical and first responders or whatever, it's so kind, it's so easy to be kind to them. But it's really tough to be kind to people who are just living in our armpit, dancing on our very last nerve. The reason I wrote that article and posted it yesterday was because I thought, you know, we've had a spike in child abuse reports, and we've had a spike in domestic violence reports, and that grieves my heart. But I'll tell you what grieves my heart even more is what we don't know that's going on behind closed doors. Those things that are happening that don't get reported, that you have dedicated your life to helping with, that just really troubles me. And so I was thinking about, what are the tips that I can give to families, people who, you know, they don't necessarily want to abuse their kids, but they're fearful, they're stressed out, they don't know if they're going to have a job to go back to, there's no money coming in, they're out of toilet paper, and, you know, I mean, it's hard, I get it. And then when you have a kid who's, you know, they're high energy and they're bouncing off the wall, or let's say you have a teenager who's, you know, just, if you say it's day, they're obligated by law to say it's night, and, you know, and every single thing is an argument. I can understand, I'm not excusing it, but I can understand people losing their good sense and doing something that they regret. And I thought, okay, so what advice can I give? And honestly, Irene, I thought of you. I thought of other friends that I've known who have taken care of kids with really, really difficult behaviors through the years. And I thought, well, how have you gotten by? How have you continued to do it? And, I said, well, how have you raised all these kids and lived to tell about it? And you didn't lose your mind, you didn't lose your good sense. How in the world? And so that's what this really is. So it feels almost awkward that I should be saying this to you because, you setting the example, this is where I got this. So, but for the all the viewers, for the others, so let me just share. Um, the bottom line is that love is more than a feeling. Love is a verb. And we've all had the experience of somebody saying, "Oh, I love you." And then their actions don't show it. Their actions don't match their words. And we don't like that. We don't like people to lie. We don't like people to be disingenuous. And so I actually wrote a book on it. This one's also dedicated to foster parents and people who basically love broken people into wholeness. And that's what was done for me. It's how to change the world with love. So the bottom line of all this is just to say, all right, for people who are in situations right now, foster parents who are raising other people's kids right now under the most difficult, trying circumstances, with everybody fearful and anxious, and uh, and we really and truly don't know how this is all going to go and when it's all going to end. And so I'm saying, not to pass judgment that people shouldn't be anxious. I mean, I wish we could all just be completely peaceful and joyful, but these are normal human emotions. But so more than ever, though, now's when we need to put our love into action. The reason why we do what we do, the reason why you have, taken kids in who aren't your own and trying to raise them and trying to love them into wholeness. This now more than ever is the time to put the love into action. So what do I mean by that? Give people the benefit of the doubt. Believe the best of others. So here's an example of that. You said, don't touch the cookies. Don't eat a cookie right before dinner. And the cookie package is open and 3 are gone. And so that somebody violated the rules. Well, instead of automatically thinking about the one, I think we very often have one in our where you just automatically go, well, I know who it was. Well, how about we just let that go and believe the best of people until we're, the facts are right there. When you see the cookie crumbs right there, okay, well, but even in that situation, to be quick to forgive. And especially right now, maybe we just lessen the rules a little bit. I had somebody say to me recently, who's a pretty rigid person in terms of the rules, and everybody has to, you know, do what everybody has to toe the line and do their chores and do their thing. So the last person on earth I ever thought would say, well, it's all out the window. All the rules are completely out the window. Never thought I would hear this person say that in a million years. But that was his response in his situation with his family and the children within his influence, was to keep his sanity, which sets the tone for the whole house, was to say, okay, we're gonna get to this when we get to this. We're not going to worry about every little thing. It's a different day. It's a different set of circumstances. And you know, to an extent, I mean, I get we want to create routine. It helps to have consistency and routine. I know I feel safe when there's routine. And so I get that. But I also think that we all need to give ourselves a little bit of mercy about just kind of letting stuff go right now. The second thing is exercising self control. We can teach that to the kids within our influence when we're able to do it. So, you know, it means not raising our voices, not responding and reacting the way we want to when something isn't the way it ought to be. And so, you know, how do you do that? You find a quiet place. If it's the bathroom, lock yourself in the bathroom for 5 minutes. Give yourself a little breather. Take a walk. Whatever it is that you can do that will help you to just get control and self-regulate. We will never ever teach self-regulation to the people within our influence if we can't first do it ourselves. So that really is big. And then don't be difficult to deal with. Oh, oh, Lord have mercy. This is this is today and every day. Let's, you know, let us not demand our own way about everything. And I caught myself, Irene, yesterday with that. My coffee maker wasn't working properly. And I've got one of those where I set it the night before and it goes off on the timer and I wake up and the smell of coffee's in the house and I just can barely wait till I get over there to that pot and drink my coffee. And the coffee came out like light brown colored water. And what I wanted, I mean, it's kind of like a teapot. You know, the pressure's in there and I don't let it get to me and I don't let it get to me. And then the coffee pot's not working and my reaction, you know, I wanted to be like, well, my whole day is messed up now because I can't have my decent cup of coffee, you know. And I thought of, don't be difficult to live with. I mean, there are people who don't have something to eat. And I'm going to whine and cry and, you know, pitch a fit and be a brat because I didn't get a decent cup of coffee, you know? Gee whiz, let me practice what I preach. So we don't have to have our own way. We don't have to have the TV on what we want to watch. We don't have, you know, we can just breathe and roll with it. And then when we do that, again, we're modeling for everybody else. And don't be rude. Being kind and polite and respectful, even when, and I'll say especially when, people are not kind and polite and respectful toward us. But when we respond to an insult, to being something that's rude, something like that, when we respond with kindness, you know, often people don't know what to do with that. And you can't, I mean, the other person can kind of go on and on for a while, but when they don't get the reaction out of you that they were hoping to get out of you, a lot of times it just diffuses the issues. The next one is very similar. It's ignore insults. This is really difficult to do, I think, for me. Now, maybe it's not for others, but it's a personal thing with me that that I want to respond. I want to fight back. I'm not going to let somebody roll all over me. And so I've had to train myself to be selectively deaf. And I'll tell you where I got that. I hope I'm not running out of time. I wrote to celebrities and politicians and athletes and actors, and when my daughter was turning 21, and I gave them a blank card and a self-addressed stamped envelope, and I said, would you write your best advice to a young girl turning 21? And a bunch of people responded. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg responded. And she wrote this beautiful letter to my daughter and said, you know, there will be people in your life, and she said, and my husband is the one for me, who will say things sort of, you know, they'll say something under their breath, or they'll say something that, you know, they know it's going to get your goat. And she said, the way to be happy and the way to have a long, happy marriage is to be selectively deaf. Just don't even, just pretend like you just didn't even hear it. Just let it go. And I've never forgotten that. And so just let it go. Just pretend like you didn't hear it. Two more, be patient. And, you know, it's easy to be patient when everyone is behaving properly. It's a choice to be patient when people decide that they're going to be knuckleheads. And so you have to choose and then stay there and just remind yourself 12 times a day if you have to, that you are going to exercise patience, that you are going to develop that character trait of being calm and patient and unshakable and smile like this, even if you feel like you want to throw something. And then the last one, of course, is be kind. If you think about the kindness that you would share with someone for whom you feel sympathy, be that kind to the people who are closest to you. We tend to take advantage, I think, you know, not in an intentional way, but take for granted the people around us, and they're with us, and, you know, we're married for all these years, and he's got to put up with me. And no, you know, let's not do that. Let's not do that, because what happens is we wind up hurting the ones we love the most with unkind remarks and just a lack of control in our facial expressions, our body language, our words. All of that is communication. Every single facial expression, every gesture, you know, our body language, it's all communication. So let's determine to be, you know, what I've called in this kindness quotient, to be kindness ambassadors. Let's raise up a little bit higher, because not only are you, in doing that, teaching the people who live with you, the children you care about, but there are other people watching too. There are family members, there's neighbors, there are extended people who you might not even be aware of the fact that you are influencing them. Your life is an influence. You will never attract a new person into being a foster parent if you're miserable. We will never attract, you know, for those of us who, I'm a Christian, and I think to myself, well, nobody wants to be a Christian if I'm the only example of Christianity that they know and I'm miserable. Why would anybody want what I have if I'm miserable? So I think that we have a responsibility to be decent humans, to be the best people we can possibly be. And so in doing those things, we're better able to cope with our current situation and with anything else that ever comes our way. Because what happens when you do these things, you're inviting peace into your heart. And peace is internal. It doesn't get taken away from you if there's a virus or there's pandemic or there's, you know, rioting in the streets or whatever it is. You can bring peace into every chaotic situation when you have it inside of you. So these things that I've shared in this blog, these 7 things to do to survive tough times, these are the things that can take us from now until the day we leave our life, this life, with peace. and with joy and with a smile on our face. And when we do that, we are teaching everyone within our influence to also do that. So, have I run out of time? Have I talked too much?
I don't know. I haven't been keeping track. I don't know. Sean,
I,
are you
I
recording
think we're
me
just
or?
about
Okay. So I'm not sure if we're being recorded or not right now, Rhonda, but I just want to say that all of these things really hit home to me last week. And it's why I guess your blog was so important yesterday, because I lost it last week at the grocery store. And we have a face mask rule here, and in the store you're supposed to stay 6 feet away, right? And so we're doing that, and I got up to the bacon area, and I needed some bacon, and there was a lady standing there, and she didn't have a mask on, so she was not following what's the ordinance now to do. But anyway, she would reach over and she'd pick out a package of bacon, and she'd look at it and look at it. And I'm thinking, oh boy, this is going to take a while. So I actually looked at my watch. You know me, because I'm going to get in and out, right? And so I start looking at my time, and I'm thinking, oh, she'll maybe pick that one. No, she put it back on the shelf. And then she picks up another and another. And at 12, I quit counting. But we'd already hit 3 minutes on my watch. And she had looked at the bacon, each of those packages that long. And I'm like, you know what? This is ridiculous. So I kind of moved my cart, because I had the whole cart and everything, right? I moved it kind of sideways, so it was just a sideways. And I reached and got a package of bacon and was bringing that bacon back. I never got closer than 3 feet, but I did get closer than 6. She jerked around and she went, "Get out of my space. Are you trying to kill me?" Just like that.
Oh my word.
Just like, oh my Lord. And there was an employee at the grocery store standing right there. And she looked at him and she said, Why did you let her in my space? And he just said, "Ma'am, you've been standing there forever. And I guess she wants to get on with getting her groceries. She did not come close enough to harm you. She has a mask on." And then I just looked at her, and I didn't do some of these things. And I just said, you know what? First of all, you should have a mask on. That is the ordinance in this city now. Second of all, you don't have gloves on. And if you did, you just contaminated 12 to 15 packages of bacon that other people are going to come now and pick up and take home with them. So I think you need to have some little respect for yourself too, and not, and for the other people who are going to come after you. And she went, "You stop telling me what to do," just like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I said, "Well, ma'am, I'm sorry, but I'm leaving." And so I got out of there. But I didn't practice some of these things. And I had those feelings that you had. I wanted to knock her over the head, I wanted to shake some sense into her. I wanted to say, pay attention to what you're doing, that kind of stuff. So, and when I saw this yesterday, I think that's why it hit home to me, because I've been having these guilty feelings for a week about this interaction with this woman that I hope I never meet again. But it wasn't me. I was stressed of the times, I guess. That's just not a reaction that I would give to somebody. And so I was beating myself up for it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. But I think it's important for all of us to know that no matter how well-intended we are, how much we want to be all these things, sometimes life just doesn't let it happen for us, and we have to get some stuff out of our system a little bit. So I hope that lady will forgive me at some point, because I've forgiven her. My problems now are that I was not as respectful to her as I should have been, as understanding, because I don't know what happened to her before she walked in there either. But Rhonda, thank you. I hope that you will be on this show again sometime in the future, not too distant future, and that we can enjoy your company again.
You're so kind. I just appreciate you so much. And I love that you're so transparent. And we're all human, and we're all going to make mistakes. And when I say be quick to forgive, I think we also have to be quick to forgive ourselves. and hit the reset button and say, okay, that was then, this is now,
That's right.
and let's just move on. So, and one thing I wanted to say before I let you go is that I have one of my books and workbook I want to give free to anybody who wants it right now. It's
Awesome.
Succeed Because of What You've Been Through, and the workbook, great for teenagers or whoever, but it's really all about mining the lessons out of what we've been through, not feeling sorry for ourselves, but learning what we can out of our difficult experiences, and then using exactly those things to create good lives for ourselves. So if anybody wants to go to my website and get it for free shipping, free everything, it's Rhonda, RHONDA.org. And the coupon code is COVID. Isn't that terrible? I should,
Oh,
I should have
but easy to remember now.
remember right now, right? So I hope that people will take advantage of that. So thank you for having me, my friend.
Anytime.
All right, wonderful. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
All righty, bye-bye.